Today we're making bone broth. I'm going to show you how easy it is to make delicious homemade bone broth that you don't have to buy in the store. You make it yourself at home so you know exactly what's in it. I was the lucky one this Christmas that got to take home not only these 2 turkey carcasses, but also the ham bone. Plus I have another ham bone that I've been saving in the freezer to make bone broth. I have a large 20-quart pot. Just use the biggest one you have. And you're gonna go ahead and put all the bones, trim off as much meat as you can, but go ahead and put all the bones in your pot. Feel free to leave all the fat chunks, all of that on. This next part is completely optional. I am going to add about 6 cloves of garlic and 1 red onion to my pot. You don't have to worry about chopping it up small or anything, because all we want is that flavor. A lot of carnivores don't do vegetables at all. We've been doing garlic powder and onion powder for quite a while now, so I know that this will be okay. So the next step is to fill this bad boy up with water. We're gonna fill it about 3/4. We're gonna put it on the stove and we're just gonna bring it to a simmer, and then we're gonna let it simmer. Oh, those onions are strong. You're gonna bring it to a simmer, and you're going to simmer it for a minimum of 24 hours, preferably up to 48 hours. What you're doing when you're making bone broth is you're actually pulling the collagen and the gelatin out of the bones, and that's the nutrients that we're looking for out of this broth. Be prepared for your house to smell like soup for a full day. You'll notice that I did not add any salt to the broth, and the reason behind that is the ham itself is already very salty. So I want to let it cook and I want to let it simmer so that I can taste test it tomorrow. And then if it does need salt, I can go from there and add it. So it's the next day. It is about almost 9 o'clock at night, which means my soup has been cooking for, hang on, let me do the math, about 30 hours. I'll give you a sneak peek. It looks gross. But this is where the hard part comes in. Now you need to strain all of this. So I'm going to start by digging out all of the bones and then going to pour it through a strainer. And when you fill up that bowl, start filling up another bowl. Holy moly. Taste test this, preferably before you strain it and do all this work to get it in the individual containers to see if you need to add salt. I did not need to add any salt, mine is perfect. We can add salt to taste as we eat it if we want to, but I got a lot of bone broth, holy moly. And it's really good, really, really good. So my next process is storing it. Now, if we've done this correctly, bone broth, when it cools down, will actually turn into like a jelly-like substance. That's how you know you've done it right, because you've actually pulled the gelatin out of the bones. When it's in that kind of form, it's actually easier to handle. So a lot of people will put it in mason jars. I have a lot of it and I don't have mason jars, so I think I'm gonna let it firm up a little bit, and then I'm going to actually store it in freezer bags and pop it in the freezer. But I hope you've enjoyed this bone broth recipe. Go ahead and make some yourself and enjoy all the healing benefits of bone broth.